I hope you are super excited and ready. I know we are in different parts of the country, so some of you may be in the early part of the day. Where I am, it's a little bit kind of leaning towards happy hour. So I'm going to go ahead one more time and give a warm welcome to CPR with Miss Wilson. I am so excited, so happy that you're here. What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce myself. I first off want to thank you all so much for tuning in to this very special educational session. I am not giving out any type of CPR cards. This is for your benefit, for your family, with statistical data. Let me say this again. I am not handing out or delivering any CPR cards today. This is strictly an educational, informational session. Be good? Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, as you all know, my name is plastered everywhere. And I see questions here at the bottom. What I'm going to do is address them at the very end of the session, just because I'm using my mobile phone today because I'm going to be hands-on. So I see the questions in the box, but I'm going to address them at the very end, okay? So I haven't forgot about you. I see your questions, but I'm going to get to them at the very end. Okay, so my name is Miss Wilson. My first name is Fianca, okay? It's not Bianca, Felicia, fiance, Fianca, Delilah, okay? Yes, I've been called that, okay? It is Fianca. The Miss Wilson comes from I'm an educator in the public school system. And so that is what students call me, Miss Wilson, Miss Wilson, Miss Wilson, Miss Wilson. So I carried that name along and started my CPR business. So as you all can see, as I've stated, I'm not close to my device. So I ask you all to please keep your mics muted and I will answer all questions at the end. If there is something that you see or something that you are dying to know, please feel free to leave that information in the chat box and I will address it at the very end. So we're going to start off with Go Red for Women. Initially, I wanted to lead this workshop in February because February is National Heart Month with the American Heart Association. However, things did not happen that way, but we are still raising awareness for heart disease in women. Based on tradition, the first Friday in every February has been labeled as the National Go Red for Women Day by the American Heart Association. Anyone is encouraged to wear red. Okay, you see I got my red and my red hearts in the background. Anyone is encouraged to wear red and snap jazzy photos and post them to social media to raise awareness for cardiac disease in women. Big Lots partners with the American Heart Association for this day and gives shoppers the opportunity to donate after they shop. Of course, February is over, so Big Lots is not participating anymore in donations for the Go Red for Women cause. In select cities, CVS is still participating, I believe, until Friday. So if you do want to donate to the cause, you are more than welcome to visit your local CVS pharmacy and ask about the Go Red for Women cause, and you can donate that way. You can always go on www.heart.org. You will find the Go Red for Women tab, and you can always donate online 365 days out of the year, 7 days a week. However, I know some people will prefer more in-person donations, so you can still donate up until Friday at CVS. However, please Check with your local CVS because some of them may have stopped on last Friday for the end of February, but they should still be running until the end of this week. So what I'm going to do is start off with the Life is Why. This is a tradition with the American Heart Association. And before I start CPR classes, this is an optional module that I sometimes may choose to go through just to kind of break the ice. So I'm going to share this with you guys. And at the end, we will do a small activity, okay? Life is Why is a celebration of life. A simple yet powerful answer to the question of why we should all be healthy in heart and mind. It also explains why we do what we do. Life-saving work every day. We encourage you to discover your why and share it with others. Ask yourself, what are the moments, place, people, and experiences that I live for? What brings me joy, wonder, and happiness? Why am I partnering with the American Heart Association to help save lives, which is not you today because I'm not giving out CPR cards, but I am an American Heart Association instructor. So we're not partnering, but you feel my way. You feel my way. Okay. So the answer to these questions is your why. Now, my why, which I've scratched it out, as you all can see, because the initial activity I have for you guys is for everyone to hold up just a blank sheet of paper stating what their why is. So initially, the word women was here. That is my why. Women is why. I started CPR with Miss Wilson for you guys, for you girlfriends. I did that. I did extensive reading, stayed up some nights till, not even nights, 8 o'clock in the morning, 24 hours, sometimes back to back, to read and research this information for you ladies, for ladies in America, for children, minority children. I did this. I started this business to raise that education and awareness for you. 1 in 3 women die from cardiac disease every day. You thought I was going to say year? Thought I was going to say month, week, every day. So that means 1 in 3 women on this phone call, you won't die. Okay, you won't die. Okay, but 1 in 3 women have heart disease. What that means is in a public setting, a woman that has heart disease and suddenly goes into a cardiac arrest, her chances of survival are very low. It is important to establish care with a primary care doctor. It is important to live a healthy lifestyle. As you all can see, I'm not a small girl. I'm not a small girl. I love my chips. I love my M&Ms. Okay, I love it. But the key to beating heart disease is staying active, staying healthy. There is no cure for heart disease, and it affects women differently. The healthiest women that go to the gym every day, they got guns up to here. I mean, no, 0 body fat. Guess what? That woman can still have heart disease. Okay, so there is no safe line when it comes to beating or staying away from heart disease. Anyone of any age, it's not an old woman disease. Anybody any age can have heart disease. One of the first steps is early detection. I encourage all of you women on this phone call to please consult with a primary healthcare provider just to get the ball rolling and get checked for heart disease. There's nothing wrong with checking. Okay. Now, that lets me go into my other spiel. And in my Life is Why activity, I asked for everyone to have a sheet of paper and a pen or something to write with. And I would like for you to write on that sheet of paper, what is your why? I shared with you all what my why is. So I want you all to share, what is your why? Write it down on a piece of paper. And I'm not going to ask you to share it with the group, but I want you to remember what you wrote. And every continuing day that you're on this earth, you revert back to that page. And anything you do, you remember that's why I do it. Okay? So that is what I want you to do. That's the homework that I have for you to do. Moving on, okay? As you all can see, the Go Red for women, women need CPR too, okay? Now, numbers tell the story. In a 2017 study of more than 19,000 people who had cardiac arrest, only 39% of women, 39%, received CPR from bystanders in public, compared to 45% of men. Men's odds of surviving a cardiac event were 23% higher than women's. Why? Women who have cardiac arrest are more likely to have a disease of the heart muscle, have non-shockable rhythms that cannot be treated with an AED, and be older and live at home. Plus, there are a few common fears and myths that may prevent them from getting help. Fear: I will be accused of inappropriate touching. I will cause physical injury. I will get sued if I hurt a woman, especially my pregnant women, especially. No one wants to perform CPR on a pregnant woman because they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to hit that baby. When you are properly trained, okay, you eliminate that fear because you have taken the steps to build that confidence to act in an emergent situation, okay? So my CPR don't for today, my number one, we are in COVID. Yes, we know that. However, CPR is a life-saving procedure that should not be taken lightly. Do not, let me say it again. Do not click on those Google ads that say, hey, pay $13 and you can get a CPR card. Just click through some online modules and you can get a CPR card. What happens when you do that? You hurt everyone around you because you learn absolutely nothing from an online CPR class that has no hands-on components, okay? What happens is when you want to apply for a job in a hospital or any job that is very reputable and you give them that CPR card, they're going to tell you, we're not going to take it. You need to call an American Heart Association instructor to get that viable CPR card. So my don't is do not take a 100% online CPR class. You help no one when you do that. And if a company allows people to work for them and they have presented them with an online CPR card, you may not want to do business with that organization because they clearly do not have training, the proper training first for their employees, okay? Children, if you take your child to a pediatrician, are you going to trust a doctor that went to online school and never touched anybody? They just, first day they in there touching on your child? No. Why would you take 100% online CPR class? It's the same thing, okay? So, in order to improve training, the American Heart Association CPR addresses gender-related barriers to improve bystander CPR rates for women. This includes representation of women in our training material and informational videos, okay? Since we do have COVID, what's going on now? The American Heart Association has implemented hands-only CPR, okay? What that means is if you are a trained professional, or if you may have took the class in 1981, which definitely don't, I would hope you have a recent CPR certification card, and you go ahead and start those compressions in public on a bystander. You do those compressions. It is 30 compressions to 2 breaths. However, if you are in public, I definitely don't recommend you blowing in anyone's mouth because we have COVID. So if you are a super person and you just don't care about COVID, hey, go ahead and blow in that person's mouth. However, it is strictly not recommended to do so in a public setting due to we are still in a pandemic. But if something in your mind is saying, hey, I want to do this, go ahead. But I'm not endorsing it. But if that's what you want to do, then you're more than welcome to. But we're not endorsing that. So hands-only CPR is simple. Call 911, press speakerphone, and perform those compressions. And you keep on compressing until help arrives. The thing is, when you are only giving compressions and no breaths, you get tired quickly, okay? So it is always important to call 911 and put them on speaker, okay? We are in 2021, everyone has a cell phone. 9 times out of 10, everyone has a cell phone in their hand almost 90% of the day. So in an emergent situation, there should be no reason why 911 should not be called and put on speakerphone. Now, we're going to do a little demonstration. So I have my good sis Esmeralda, that's her name, okay? And she is an infant, of course. My big guy, who is Santiago, who is my adult mannequin, he's in there chilling because he requires more work. So that's why I'm using the baby for this demonstration today. However, the compressions for an adult, you would want to put down your dominant hand on that person's chest below the nipple line. Now, I know some of you ladies out there, without our support, they hang to the floor, okay? I know they can hang to the floor, but we don't want to be starting down here. We want to be right up in here, okay? So you want to go right below that nipple line, not how long the girls hang, okay? All right, so that is where you want to start, over that left breastbone. It is good to use your dominant hand first, just because you have more control. You lock it in, okay? Hands are straight. You see my shoulders? They're straight. You don't want to be doing this, or you want it to be straight and locked in, okay? Because that person could be your spouse, your child. It's not a playing game when it comes to administering CPR. So you want to make sure we do it correctly the first time, because if we don't do it, there won't be a second time. It's that serious, okay? Now with our babies, and I do have a YouTube video with Ms. Wilson, if you want to go ahead and look at this video on YouTube. With my babies, the compressions are different, okay? Infants, let me say. So I got our heart right here, but I don't want y'all to get offended. I'm just gonna rip it off. I'm sorry. I had to rip it off. Okay. So with babies, and I'm gonna cut on my feedback device. And this is also, if you go to a CPR class in person, you want to make sure whomever is training you has mannequins with a feedback device. This helps determine if you are doing your compressions correctly, okay? There is no way, in my opinion, to accurately measure the depth of compressions and the rate without a feedback device. So if you take a CPR class, and not all feedback devices look like mine, but there needs to be a feedback device. And ask your instructor, hey, do these mannequins come with feedback devices? If they say no, I recommend you possibly asking for a refund, because there's no way that you can tell that you're going down the correct depth without that feedback device. I mean, there has been instructors doing classes for 30 years, and I don't knock those instructors. However, seeing something versus accurately knowing are two different things. So you may have an instructor that's been doing for 30 years say, we don't need that. I know what I'm doing. Well, I don't know that you know what you're doing. So I need to see it from my own eyes. So please encourage or ask your instructor. I know we got about 5 more minutes, if they have a feedback device. So with my babies, you want to put your your pointer finger and your middle finger, okay? You want to go directly in the center of that chest and make sure everybody can see. And you're going to see the diaper going to light up green. And you hear us clicking, okay? That's how I know I'm doing I don't even have to look at it, okay? I know I'm doing them correctly because I'm looking at my feedback device and it lit up green. Now, I'm going to show you incorrect. You see that? We got yellow. That means we're going too fast, okay? So if you're taking a CPR class, this is not going to save your baby. You're going to kill him. You're going to kill him. If you're... Okay, you're going to kill your baby too. You notice how it turned red. That means we're going too slow, okay? So you always want to make sure you're consistent. Ha, 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 ha. Staying alive, staying alive. Ha, ha. And you hear that clicking, okay? Normally, I would have the baby laying flat down, but I have to hold her up to show you guys. So that concludes my informational session. I'm sorry, I got some sting to my arm. So please schedule a CPR class with a hands-on component. I can't tell you how important that is to do so. You always, even if you have not had any recent training, you want to make sure you start those compressions right below that nipple line with your dominant hand, straight, elbow straight, and start those compressions. 30 compressions to 2 breaths. We're in COVID. Definitely don't recommend the breaths, but if this is your spouse, your child, your friend from the 5th grade, and y'all are 6 years old, hey, breathe in them if you are comfortable. But if you're at Kroger, Walmart, somebody passes out, we're in COVID, just don't. Just do those compressions, send somebody for help, call 911, and hey, you may have to ask someone to swap out, maybe, and you can guide them. There's nothing wrong with guiding someone, and because you will get tired. You would, that's just it. So I hope you guys learned a little bit. I can't give y'all too much, okay? A little bit. And I do want to add, American Red Cross and the National Safety Council are 2 good, reputable first aid CPR companies. However, just through research, most employers prefer American Heart Association CPR cards. So American Red Cross, National Safety Council, American Heart Association, those are very good companies to go through to get certified through CPR. Any other companies, I would recommend you doing extensive research because the legitimacy is very low. So now I'm going to go to answering any questions that were in the chat box. So, Girls Night Live, let's see. Okay. Judy from Facebook. Knowledge is key. I do mine through the Heart Association, which I need to renew. What age can you obtain your CPR training? Okay. I recommend any child that is in the 6th grade or older. Now, children are more advanced nowadays. So if you have a very knowledgeable child, I would say no younger than a 5th grader. But you know your child better than I do, so if you know that their learning capability is one that is spot on, then I would, I wouldn't recommend children younger than a 5th grade age. Just my recommendation, but it has been proven that children at the 6th grade level can learn CPR and they can get certified. So we're going to move on. So Monica, I hope I answered that question for you. Mandy from Facebook Live. How often do certifications need to be renewed? Every 2 years. Every 2 years. CPR cards are good for 2 years with the American Heart Association. Moving on, Alicia from Facebook Live. How many hours are the classes in total to get certified? Okay, so hours depend upon whichever instructor that you choose to do your CPR training. We have the options of blended learning and instructor-led. Instructor-led is just show up, you do everything in one day. Those classes, and it depends on how many students are in the class with you and your instructor. The minimum time that has been recommended from the American Heart Association is 4 hours. Okay. However, with blended learning, you can do the online part first. Just depends on your learning level. I've seen people do blended learning in an hour. Okay. And what blended learning does is you do the online part and then you take a skill session in person. I've seen people master skills in an hour. Okay. So 2 hours, that cuts down that time in half. However, there are other factors that depend on that, your learning capability, your mastery of skills. So if there's a lot of repetitiveness to gain that mastery, then your class could take longer. The instructor-led course, the minimum time is 4 hours, but they can run, and it's different levels of CPR. You have the level for people who work in the daycare or nursing home. Then you have another level for people who work in the hospital, firefighters, nurses, doctors. You have another level that's strictly for, well, two more levels that are way advanced for medical professionals only, which require that training. In those classes, I mean, they can last eight hours. So it's different levels. So it depends on which type of CPR class, your instructor, and the class size. Okay. Jody Bingham, I was just at a CPR class and they didn't have the C. That is why I wanted to do this workshop, because there are a lot of CPR classes that do not have feedback devices. They are expensive. I'm a small business owner. They are expensive. But when you invest into your equipment for your students, that makes such a big difference. I've had students tell me that they have never seen a mannequin with a feedback device on it, and that broke my heart, because students want to know and see if they are doing compressions correctly. So definitely, if you do, whenever you renew your certification, just see if there's a feedback device on that mannequin. And there's nothing wrong with asking. I promise you, you won't step on an instructor's toes if you ask them if they have a feedback device mannequin. If you do, that means it's time to get your refund and find someone else. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. Courtney from Facebook Live. If I move out of the state I have been certified in, do I need to update in the new state? Girlfriend, guess what? You do not. They travel from state to state. However, if you're going out of the country, I know the American Heart Association reaches to Portugal and China. So I believe if you were going to those countries and wanted to use a CPR card, you would probably have to take a Portuguese CPR class or a Chinese CPR class. But in those two countries, oh, and they also have Spanish, but that's that you don't have to go to Spain to get a Spanish CPR card, but it goes anywhere in the 50 states. It's not like a license for teaching or for nursing. It goes from state to state. You shouldn't have any issue with that. Let's move on. Erica from Facebook Live. I like that Staying Alive song. Yes. Can you use the same song also for adult compressions? Yes. That is the generic song. Another song is Crazy in Love with Jay-Z and Beyonce. It just depends on that beat, that tempo beat, because you just want to stay on that rhythm. And that's a song that everybody knows. So Staying Alive is just the generic song that everybody uses. It can be used on adult as well, not only for infant. And Alyssa Davis, how long have I been teaching CPR classes? I have been teaching CPR classes for 1 year coming in June. My background is teaching in the school system. So I have a passion for teaching anything. I love education. I love education. It's in my blood. I cannot take education out of my blood if I wanted to. But moved on to doing CPR. I've been doing it for a year in June. How much does it cost? Well, my price is, that is Daisy De Jesus. I hope I didn't say it wrong. Prices depend upon location and instructor. It varies with every instructor. So I honestly can't give a price, because the price that you may get may be different than your local area CPR instructor. So you would just have to contact them and figure out, because I can't give that cost. From Alyssa, would you recommend taking a CPR AED first aid class or just CPR by itself? I recommend doing them all, but in my opinion, the most important thing is mastering your compressions. So if you are one that, you want that practice, you don't know how to use an AED, you really kind of know first aid, you really don't need that. You can definitely take just a CPR class only without AED and first aid. I recommend taking all three, just because most of the time they're going to be the same price. So taking a lesser class, it won't lessen the price. So you may as well just get everything for for what you paid for. So I recommend taking them all at once, especially for jobs. A lot of jobs want you to have that combo. They don't just want to see CPR. They want to see CPR, AED, and first aid. Michelle Saris. Where am I located? I'm going to do it for Michelle and Alyssa. I am in Georgia. I know Girls Night Live is everywhere. Y'all are in one of the 50 states. So I am currently in Georgia. All right. Awesome, Michelle. I'm glad I got it right. I am currently in Georgia. So if you are not in Georgia, unfortunately, I could not be your CPR instructor as of yet. But I am working on something where I can come to every state in the country to deliver this personality. Cause I know y'all want it. I know, and while y'all let it, y'all might as well go ahead and send me a tip. What y'all doing? I gave y'all this education today. Come on now. Come on. Ah! Okay. And I think that is it. I'm sorry, Michelle, you live in Philadelphia. I'm sorry. One day. I'll be there one day. I was interested in obtaining a CRNA and wanted to know what program. Okay, so CRNA is, a high level nursing position. Once you obtain that position, or let me say, once you get into that program, they will give you, or they will tell you what you would need. I know for certain you would probably have to take BLS CPR, ACLS, which is accelerated, and PALS, which is pediatric CPR. And those are three levels of CPR. And those are, the credentials that are required by the higher level, which is the nurses, doctors, and of course, a CRNA. So PALS, BLS, and ACLS. But definitely, Alyssa, don't go and register for these classes just yet, because you want to get in the program first. And those classes are very costly, because there's a lot that goes with those advanced CPR classes, because there are tubes. You have to use more equipment. So I would definitely, wait until you get into that program and get those additional certifications. Okay. All right, Alyssa, I'm 17 and interested in the nursing field. So thank you for coming to speak to us and help refresh my memory. I have a CPR mask and taking training. All right, awesome, Alyssa. I am so glad that you decided to join on. And I am more than happy that I was able to refresh your memory. If there are any other questions, I'm getting ready to close out. We have the link. I want to see my PayPal jumping. No, I'm just playing. But if you want to leave something, you can. If not, the money will come one day. So it was nice seeing you guys. I hope you were able to learn something. I hope I helped you in some form or fashion. My social media with Miss Wilson, YouTube, Instagram. Do not have a Facebook at this current moment, because I have a lot on my plate. But in the future, I will be getting a Facebook page to interact with a more larger audience. But right now, I do not have one. So I am going to close out. I hope y'all had a great time, and go CPR.